So it's my turn. So, balloon animals surprisingly taught me a lot about business. It was at a time when I was a teenager. So as a teenager, I was completely obsessed with what was going on in my own world. I was 16. And in my world, there was cheerleading, there was school, there was my boyfriend who was older than me, and who I thought because of that I was really cool, right? And and I had school, of course, and thinking about like my future and everything. So anything outside of that really wasn't relevant, and honestly, it wasn't that cool either. Again. So you can imagine my surprise when my parents came home with my sister with a stack of books about how to make balloon animals. And I was looking at these books on the table, and I came home one day, probably from cheerleading practice, and I said, what are all these balloon animal books on the table? What are they for? And my mom explained to me that my sister they had gone to a restaurant and they saw a balloon artist, and my sister wanted to know how to make balloon animals now. And so I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I kind of brushed it aside and didn't really think about it. But then over a course of a few months, I kept watching my sister perfect this craft. And she would sit there for hours, like staring at the book, testing and twisting the balloons, taking a blank canvas of a long abstract piece of art and then turning it into something that was like real and whimsical and fun to interact with. And I was like, wow, she's getting really good at this. And then I also thought we could actually make some money off of this. So I decided that is when the idea of Go Balloony came to my mind. I went to my parents and my sister, and I was like, we should start a balloon animal making business where we could provide balloon art services to kids, to parents who have kids with small children. We could do birthday parties. There would be a big market in our area. I was in a suburb outside of Chicago, so there were a lot of families with small children. And my mom and dad, they were like, go for it. They were small business owners, so they were really supportive, and I hoodwinked my sister into it. I don't know if she knew what she was getting into at the time. And what was really easy for me was the marketing part of it. So I came up with the logo, obviously came up with the name, Go Balloony. Came up with the price packages and plan, like all the like flyers that we would hand out and the marketing materials, and we were all set. But the really hard part of this business was me actually learning how to make balloon animals. And I knew I couldn't make, as much as I wanted to, make my sister just do the work for me. I knew that wouldn't actually work, so I had to learn how to make balloon animals with her in order for her to actually do it with me, right? And so I remember just having a lot of struggles with like learning how to twist and handle the balloons and being comfortable with them. But the worst part about it is when the balloons would pop. It was the most excruciating, painful thing that you could ever deal with when you're not used to listening to balloons pop all the time. And I remember every time I would do it, my sister would give me like a side-eye look and be like, Kelley, you forgot to burp the balloon, didn't you? And I said, maybe I did. And burping the balloon, for those of you who don't know, it's basically letting a little bit of air loose after you fill up the balloon completely to leave room for you to twist it. And if you don't do it, it will definitely pop. So after I got over, learning how to burp the balloon and all those other techniques, it was time for us to go into the marketplace, right? So we did that by handing out flyers at parks where children and parents were mostly, and by handing out flyers in our downtown. It was called, we had a downtown in our city called downtown Evanston, and we would hand out flyers like periodically, especially during the summer when we had a lot more time. And there was one time when we decided that we were going to treat ourselves for all of the hard work that we had been doing, and me and my sister went to Flat Top Grill, which is it's a chain restaurant in the Chicago area where you have like you can make your own stir fry, and it's unlimited, and it's the best thing ever. Unlimited stir fry. And so we went into into the restaurant. We had our balloon hats on. We had these elaborate balloon hats on, matching T-shirts. The hat colors had to match what you were wearing at the time. That was the rule. And then you had to we had an apron of these a rainbow of unblown up balloons, and then of course we had our balloon pumps in it. So we're walking into the restaurant like it's nothing. We sit down and we're waiting for our waiter to come serve us. And at the corner of our eye, we see somebody, staring at us, but we weren't really trying to pay attention to that. And he came over to our table and he was like, "What are you guys doing? Like, what are these hats and these balloons? What's going on?" And we told him, about our business, that we were a balloon art services business for events and parties. And he was completely, for some reason, impressed by us. And he was like, "You guys should come in every week and do balloon animals for our guests who come into the restaurant, and I'll definitely pay you." And so we were like, "Okay, we'll get back to you with the contract, and we'll be back the next day." So we played it. We played it cool, went home, and we were obviously showing our excitement when we got home to our parents. We told them what happened, and they helped us put together a contract and all the pricing, and then we came back the next day, and we had him sign on the dotted line, and we were really in business at this point. And from that point on, it was only uphill from there. Not only were we doing that gig every Sunday, which was like our favorite days now because it involved not only getting paid once a week, but getting tips, unlimited stir fry because we got really cool with the waiters and waitresses there. And then we were really cool with the bartender. Obviously, we couldn't drink at the time, but we got cherry Cokes and Shirley Temples, which was all we really needed. And from there, we were also able to get more business. So we were doing more birthday parties, more large-scale events. And I was even able to enter this case into a local high school student business case competition, which ended up going to the state and then to the national level. So Go Balloony was taking me places, right? and so about a year into this business, I started to think about how we could, with my business mind intact, thinking about how we can make this bigger and make more money and expand our services. I thought we could train new balloon artists and have them span across like the North Shore and Midwest, and we'd be like the top provider for balloon animal services in the Midwest. I had all these dreams and this planned out, and I went to my business partner, my sister, and I was like, "Jessica, we have to do this. We can make this happen." And the only thing that she said to me was like, "Yeah, Kelley, I'm kind of over those balloon animals now." And I was absolutely crushed. I was like, "How could you not want to do this?" And it could have been that she was 11 at the time, but still, I think she should have been able to realize this opportunity. But from that, I learned 3 very, very valuable lessons. One is that I was actually really good at marketing. And it ended up being something that I majored in college, and now I still am on that same career path. The second thing is that I need to have a lot more discretion when hiring employees. And then the very last and most important one is that you should always burp the balloon. That is it.